disgusting thought that philosophers sometimes get into is solipsism. You're a solipsist if you think you are the only thing that exists and everything else is just a figment of your imagination, all right? There have been solipsists. It hasn't been a really popular position over the years, but Bertrand Russell was a solipsist for a while. Of course, for anything you pick out, Bertrand Russell was that for a while. He wrote a book in which he advocated solipsism, and a certain lady, Lad Franklin, wrote him a letter and said, you know, I think your book is really, really right. Solipsism is definitely the way to go. I wonder why there aren't more of us solipsists, she said. When I was a young professor at Wayne State University, 100 years ago or so, there was a solipsist there in the medical school. I heard there was a solipsist there in the medical school, and I thought, well, I'd like to see what a real live solipsist looks like. So I went to the medical school to meet this guy, Dr. So-and-so. He was at the time a university professor at Wayne State University, which meant he could teach any course he wanted to in the whole university. So if he wanted to, I think he was a professor of surgery. If he wanted to teach my course in logic, all he had to do was come over to the philosophy department and say, well, Plantinga, I'm going to teach logic now. You'll have to try something else, maybe surgery. So that's the kind of person he was. He was a university professor and a solipsist. So I went to see him, and he and I had some, chit-chat. We talked a bit. We chatted. We didn't have a whole lot to say to each other, but I thought he was very polite, given that I was just a figment of his imagination. He seemed quite solicitous and the like. Finally, after a few minutes, I decided time to leave. So as I left, one of his younger colleagues took me aside and said, we take very good care of Dr. So-and-so, because when he goes, we all go. But